would like to give us a little summary of where we stand for some inspiration.
I can swing at it.
Cool.
I believe our last session. I forgot to listen back, but I believe our last session was our Castellantier heist. Is that right?
It was, in fact, the Castle and Tier heist.
Yeah. We did a pretty bang up job of getting to the property, finding a way in fairly unaccosted, except by some bearded devils, which I believe we killed them all.
Mhm.
Um, uh, Killed being the whatever you may say for fucking demons that are going to get reconstituted later and shit, but um, uh, kind of kept the alarm bells down to a minimum, pretty much until we met the two Castellantier children, who took us for actors in a performance from when we had saved their lives earlier, because their parents had done a pretty solid job of convincing the kids that it was all a game. Um, and while we were hanging out with them and bribing them, we picked up of the jar that sang the song.
Your beardy
That I
face.
Yeah, your beardy face. Um, uh, and then we also collected some like journals and notes and some uh, some things that kind of are more condemning of the Castellantier um, evil doings, and then briefly pursued by house guards, have made an escape. Um, in our we are currently on our way to Mertz Theater to meet with Asper to translate the contract with I believe Asmodeus, uh, that we found in the desk. And I also have notes in all caps that say the stone is an aboleth. I don't remember how we came to that information, but we have discovered that the stone of Galore is an or is connected to an aboleth,
Mhm.
and none of us know what that means except bad. Thrilling.
Yeah.
It was
Um,
in the Lord Castellanter's notes. Like he talks about.
that is correct.
Um,
He had a journal.
yeah, it was a journal. He said the stone is an aboleth. There were a couple things that he said. Something about the keys, and there was another one. Somebody's other part. Like there was a name. I should have written it down when I was listening to it.
Um,
I have also the notes in 2 weeks as Waldo comes, which is the older child of the Castellantiers house. I don't know if that will mean anything to us, but I have that in my notes.
yeah, I think the name that you're looking for, Ted, that is correct, Max. That was definitely something that you learned. I think the second half of that sentence and the name that you're looking for, it was keys acquired, need never ember question mark.
Yeah.
mm, hmm
No, that wasn't it. There was
Okay.
another line. I mean, I do remember the need never ember question
Mhm.
mark part. Oh God, I don't know. I'll find it.
Oh, we also picked up a bunch of books of their debt contracts held by the Castellantiers because we
Mhm.
kind of thought go big or go home.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Um, cool. Yeah, that's basically it. So, how about both of you give yourselves a point of inspiration? Um, and it's sort of late afternoon, and you were headed to find Mert and Asper. Is that correct?
Yes.
So you're headed over to the Light Singer Theater.
Yes.
I am going to, you know what, make a couple quick changes
Looking
here,
your feet.
then move you
You know better.
onto a map. Um, as you approach, quick, you can see that the doors to the theater are open. You hear some rummaging around in there, as well as you get a little closer. Um, you hear uh, a discussion. Um, uh, a little bit. Well, why don't the three of you make me a perception check before I go for that? Yeah. Corsonis and Max, you or Corsonis and Nim, I apologize. You um hear just rummaging around and a discussion going on. Exidia, you sense a little bit of tension um in that discussion. And it's not so much the words, which, as you're approaching, you can't quite make out, but there's something about the tone that um, gives that away. Uh, So, what is the plan?
Do you let us know, or do we just barge in?
I couldn't hear you over your laughing.
Do you let us know, or do we just barge in?
Yeah, I mean, I'll let you know.
Okay.
Okay, so what are we doing? We barging in. We knocking on the door and announcing ourselves. We standing outside and listening. Or we turning around and going away?
I think the inclination is still to just knock and announce ourselves.
Okay. You do, and uh, you hear Mert say, no, we're closed. No performance this evening. And then you sort of see him poke his head out. He's like, "Oh no, this is great. Y'all come in. Uh, maybe you can help us out with this. Um, come on in." So let me ask you all a question. What what is this establishment that we find ourselves in?
You said it was the Light Spur, is that right?
Light Singer.
Light Singer. Okay, I don't
Light
think I ever
Singer
wrote that
Theater.
down. I Light Singer Theatre, one of the premier opera houses in Waterdeep.
Yes, you hear that, Asper? A theater. Premier opera house. Not a dining hall, not a dance hall, not a party room for rent. Right? It's a theater. If the Castellanteers want to put on a play here, I'm more than happy to let them do it. But the invitation to their party, right? I don't. They're the ones having the party. Like, why would we offer to have it here? That doesn't make any sense. They have a beautiful home. Let them have it at their home. Let their home get fucked up. And Asper just very calmly says, "So you you trust them?" Mert's like, I don't know that I trust them, but I certainly trust them more than I trust 150 people traipsing all over this theater with potato salad. You know how hard it is to get potato salad out of velvet drapes? Could you three try and talk some sense into her, please?
Oh yeah. I'll start producing a bunch of Castletier stuff from the house. Actually, uh, convenience that you're having a debate about it. So the Castletiers, as we've come to know, are devil worshippers who are trying to steal stolen, or embezzled dragons from Waterdeep, and we need help translating some of the records that we have acquired to help determine that we are on the right track, and maybe get some information to the city guard to hopefully stop them from further intruding upon the population. Just like dropping books and notes and things just onto the floor.
Mert is slack-jawed and drops the box that he was carrying, and like 15 daggers and like eye patches and like just spill out of this thing. A couple bandanas and whatnot. Asper blinks both eyes very slowly, like one time. And when she opens them again, she is looking at you, Corsonis, and says, "Am I to understand that you've broken into the Castlentier's house?"
We didn't break anything. Yeah, wait. Not to get in, at least.
This time it was the suggestion of not Barnabas. Who was the other guy? I gotta write down names more often.
Cromley. Say with
Cromley. Say it with Cromley. I have Silgar's name written down. Don't have Sayeth's name written
Nice.
down.
So you went in under the authority of the city guard.
Authority might be stretching it just a little.
Authority could be defined depending on what
Underhanded
we found.
suggestion?
Okay. I have no
Did we
problem.
already tell you about the magistrate that was murdered and Sayeth nearly died and all of that? I feel like those are important details as to why Sayeth was suddenly on our side.
She's pinching her nose, right? Like pinching the bridge of her nose, and her eyes are shut. Furrowed brow. Mert walks a little closer over this way so that he can lean on the ticket booth. It was like, Mert's just like, okay. Well, we'll talk about the party later. Let's all go have a seat. And why don't you explain to us what exactly has gone on this morning? And Mert walks over and he closes and locks these doors, right? And he leads all of you, and everyone just stay still because I'll drag everybody. He leads all of you down into the theater. And he sits up on the stage with his legs dangling off. Asper sits down in the front row. It's like, okay, let's start from the beginning. What's happening?
All right. So we were brought in for questioning generously yesterday again. And while we were there, and we're going to once again answer questions to the Magister. Um, uh, One of the other witnesses revealed himself to be a doppelganger and killed the Magister. We did catch him and slew him, right? He's goo now, right? He looks around for confirmation.
Yeah,
Uh,
yes, he's dead.
yeah. And then the Inquisitors more or less said that there would be a convenient time today in which the Castellantiers would be out of their house, and we could go and try to find some evidence that they were indeed endangering people with their worship of Asmodeus, which we believe they are, considering, well, for one, they're certainly endangering us, and could very well be endangering a significant part of Waterdeep. Um, we have the journal of the master of the house, and we have a contract right here uh, in Infernal that details. Hopefully, we're hoping you maybe could help us determine uh, the nature of the relationship, and with hopefully enough evidence, we might be able to bring to the city guard so that they can make a proper arrest. The rest of this stuff is bookkeeping, which we intend on handling with grace and tact.
The important thing is they seem to have a line on the dragons, and well, I mean, mostly for reasons of they're assholes. I think we all want to prevent that from happening. It's not particularly good for the city.
Um,
And we also learned that the Stone of Glory is connected to a thing called an aboleth, which we're still not really sure about, but it sounds bad based on the writing in the journal.
okay. Asper has taken the contract and is looking it over and just says, "Well, I don't have the ability to translate this myself, nor does Mert, but I certainly can find someone who can translate this.
What about?
Probably."
Can't believe I'm going to use these words. What about Volo?
What about him?
Perhaps he can translate it for us. He seems learned.
Does
Um,
he, though?
Asper sort of tucks the contract under her arm and is like, "Well, whether or not Volo can translate this contract, there is one thing of which I am certain, and that is he will certainly tell you he can translate the contract. Now, whether you believe him, that's up to you. What I am offering is that I can get in touch with my contacts at Force Grey, and certainly they have more than enough resources to have someone translate this, probably by this evening, but certainly no later uh, than tomorrow morning. Um, what is this you learned about the line they have on the dragons? And this is directed clearly at you, Corsonis. Uh, Force Grey would very much like to get our hands on that gold to help us fund our endeavors. Um, we prefer that to anyone else getting it. We'd certainly prefer it to any worshippers of Asmodeus getting their hands on it. With that, Mert, who has been pacing up and down on the stage, just sort of explodes. Asmodeus worshippers. Asmodeus worshippers. That's who you wanted to invite to have a party in this theater. I didn't want to go to the party in the first place. You're the one who said we should RSVP yes, and now you're trying to get a bunch of Asmodeus worshippers here in this theater. You're out of your mind. And he's just ranting and raving, not really paying much attention to anything else, at least in the short term. Asper, meanwhile, is looking primarily at you, Corsonis, but occasionally checking in with Nim and Exidia, just making eye contact. So, do we need to try and put some roadblocks up so that they don't get to the dragons?
Well, it's mentioned in the journal that they know the keys. It would seem that the only thing that they were missing was the location of where to begin, which has been provided to us by the stone. I'm unsure if they are also aware of where to begin.
We also took that story in a bottle or song in a cup or whatever.
Oh yeah, we stole one of their keys, and I'll just grin and shake the jar.
Well, I mean, you all are the performers here. How uncommon or common is that song? If it's simply a matter of anyone knowing the words and singing it, then we haven't really taken much from them in that regard. I'm not a musician.
Asper looks at it and looks at the label on the jar, and I'm not familiar with that. Mert, could you stop ranting and come help for a moment, please? He grumbles a little bit and hops off the stage and looks at it. Let me do a quick thing here. No, he looks at it and he sort of shakes his head. He's like, I don't. It's certainly not a popular song. It's not one that I'm well aware of. I mean, it reminds me a little like I don't know. I think it's an old dwarven song. I think my mother used to sing it to try and get me to go to sleep, but can't really. I might be making that up. I don't know. And so no, I mean it's certainly not something that you would expect just is common knowledge. People would have to do some research to figure out what this is. It is, to the best of my knowledge, it is not in the common Waterdavian songbook.
Ah, excellent. Then Nim's point stands. Or
I just keep grinning.
yes.
Well, I guess you all have some decisions to make, and the first is whether or not you'd like Asper to try and get this contract translated, or whether you'd like to take it yourselves and think you can get it done faster.
I don't
How's
think we
about
could get done faster.
we hold on to it and after you work on gaining the ability to translate it, I think it would be nice to be there when it gets translated, and keeping it in the most defensible hands might be the best option. No offense, Aster, but if you're walking down the street by yourself,
My suggestion would be to let them have that, and we make our way to the sea ward to the tower. Then, if something should happen to us and we should not return, perhaps that translation can still get the Castellanters arrested and out of the danger of, or get Waterdeep out of their danger, I suppose.
Yeah, that's a good point. Just be careful with it. We don't want to lose our only
Yeah, that's a good point.
Well, I certainly understand, but I will point out uh, I've been involved in Force Grey for a little bit longer than Corsonus has.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, we just saw like one of your officials get, torn apart by a doppelganger, so just, they could be anywhere.
Yeah, just point of order. Magistrates don't necessarily work for Force Grey. In fact, they might also be employed by Force Grey, but magistrates are not not a part of the official structure of Force Grey.
Yeah, we get it. You're big and tough. I'm just saying, like, be careful,
I am suddenly, and I can't help it. I think I'm suddenly quite suspicious that we are currently dealing with doppelgangers, like in this room. Uh, and I'm going to be honest. I don't know how we would uh know if we aren't.
And I guess it would take like a, I don't know, like a divine sense or detect creatures type thing. Nothing I can do. Aster, you're not a doppelganger, are you? Don't lie to me.
You have to tell me if you're a doppelganger.
Right. And if it turns out you are a doppelganger, you can't use anything that I've said. Um,
I mean, there is a way I could tell, but it would require some. It would require a portion of my more potent magic. I could
I
simply
am.
send to Aster, and if this Aster were unable to repeat my message, then we would know that this is not the real Aster.
The fact that you haven't answered my question makes me a little suspicious.
um, she and Mert just sort of grin at each other, and Asper looks at you, and it's, no, I'm not a doppelganger, and not everyone in this city finds them to be the substantial threat that apparently the magistrate and city guard did.
Yeah, can we roll insight just in case?
Sure.
Damn it.
I was giving Aster the eye,
Yeah.
Yeah, you
watching.
had the stink eye.
Yeah. No, they like.
Seems legit.
Yeah, I mean, Corsonus and Nim, again, you're just like, okay, you don't have, you have no additional read beyond the words that Asper is saying. Exidia, the vibe that you are getting, right, is a combination of like uh supreme confidence in like her abilities and in her husband's abilities, and also like a lot of patience with you and Corsonis and Nim, like um treating you as if you were all like had equal capabilities, right? When that's not remotely the case.
Understood.
Yeah. And I mean, she holds the contract back out and is like, look, you know, you found it. You can do what you want with it. Um, I am telling you that I will have a translation for you no later than first thing tomorrow morning, perhaps as early as later this evening.
No. I trust you. I think you got it. Um,
Okay.
Yeah, good enough for me.
Wonderful. And you are headed where at this point? Do you
I
need
think if we
to?
go,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I think if we go to our house, we're screwed. I also think if we go anywhere else, we might be screwed. So, a bar, maybe.
I definitely think that tonight is not the night to begin, or today is not perhaps the day to begin our trek into the Sea Ward, but if we have to, we have to. I can go with the strength I have.
I
And
think we should at least wait until we've spoken with the investigators.
Merc chimes in. He's like, "Yeah, I was gonna say, didn't you say they asked you to do this?"
Yeah.
Is perhaps a little strong.
More like they recommended that we probably could get away with it if we did.
And why do you think they made that recommendation?
Good question. I don't know.
Plausible deniability. Should we have gotten caught, they would be able to wash their hands of us.
Right, and at least as of yet, you haven't been caught. Which reminds me, did anybody see you? Did you leave any evidence?
We certainly
Yes.
didn't leave any witnesses.
Corsones, there were children.
We certainly didn't leave any witnesses.
You know what? I'm sorry. I didn't hear what you said, but I've suddenly lost interest in whatever this conversation was about. I've heard none of it. I don't know what you're talking about. I know you brought something for my wife to get translated. She's going to find somebody to translate it. That's great. Completely unrelated. You know, when my wife occasionally asks me to go out and find out what's going on in town about such and such or so and go check on this guy or that person or this thing. Although it's not stated explicitly, my understanding is that she generally likes it when I come back and tell her what I found.
It's
Now,
really sweet that you care about your wife in a way that means you give a shit about what she wants.
good luck in the city, fellas. He goes backstage.
Thank you.
Asper is don't mind him. He was fired up before you all showed up. Um, Castellantiers are having this big party. Want us all to go over to their home. I didn't particularly trust them before this information. I trust them even less now. Was thinking of trying to convince them it'd be too much trouble and too much work to have 150 some odd people traipsing all over their beautiful home, and they should find some other location to do it. You came out on the tail end of that conversation. Mert, he was not too happy that I suggested the Light Singer as a potential alternative, but haven't reached out to them and probably won't at this point. So, where would you like me to come and find you with this translation?
Hmm. Good question.
You know,
I mean,
maybe at the guardhouse. We're supposed to be there anyway, having been arrested and all.
I'm trying to think perhaps if there is somewhere that we are aware of that could be used as a drop location.
There's that acid den.
Mm, that could work, although it's perhaps best if I never show my face there ever again.
Oh,
What with
I'm
talking
gonna give him the address for that
what with
tavern.
talking to the walls and everything.
right. Here's what I can suggest. Clearly, considering your exploits here in town, you haven't just made enemies, but I'm sure you've made some allies as well. Maybe even some reluctant ones, but allies nonetheless. If you can, try and tap them for someplace to go or to stay. If that does you no good, can always contact you through the badge, Corsons.
Ooh, how about the library? I mean, Brisket would certainly be willing to hold on to something you've given him, and there's I feel like that's a location that's fairly out of the way that few people would think to go to.
Isn't Brisket at our house sitting for us?
I don't know.
At this
I,
point,
Ted, don't know.
right. At this point, we'll do a little retconning because of what is going on in the real world. Piety was doing the house sitting. Now that Istrid Horn has shown up with Jax, this was going to play out a little bit later, but we'll just spill the beans to make this a little bit smoother. Istrid is not the easiest house guest for his stay there, and so Kaz has decided to stay there as well. He and Piety have got the homestead, the haunt sort of nailed down and are making sure that Istrid causes as little trouble as possible for the remaining 9 days of his stay.
Okay.
So I mean,
Since
yeah, I mean, now that I think about it, like 2 of the 5 members of your party are at the haunt.
then we might as well go meet up with them. If it's all gonna rain down on some of us, it might as well come down and all. Although that does bring a question in my mind, Adam.
Mhm.
Given that Mr. J did like hand wave my debt,
Mhm.
um, I would be allowed back on campus, wouldn't I?
You would absolutely be allowed back on camp.
Fucking sweet. So we've got that back pocket, but I think we would be okay to go back to the haunt if we've got all of our buddies there already. Or if not, we should be there. So if someone does show up, they're not eaten alive. Any objections?
Nope. Nope. That makes sense.
Yeah, we've
Oh,
got a bar. We should use it.
that
Amen.
um, that is excellent life advice, I believe. Um, all right. Um, Asper wishes you well. Um, calls out to Mert as she sort of disappears behind stage. You can hear them sort of huddling up and planning, like, okay, you know, she's talking about, look, I got to get across town. I got to, I'm going to check this first. And, and just sort of going through the checklist of shit um, as you all leave. As you do, let me see what state I left this in. Uh, all these people, you know. And you make your way across town to the haunt. Uh, one individual here. And at this point, it's probably 4:30, 5 o'clock in the evening. And again, as you approach the haunt, you hear a conversation going on. And the Castellantiers are at the bar talking with Kaz and Piety. It's very friendly and very casual. They are, as is normally the case, Victoro doesn't seem to have much to say, but Amalia is imploring, like, yeah, well, look, the party is in approximately 3 weeks, and um, of course, you all are invited, given what friends you have been. You helped save our children, after all. Um, in addition, the haunt has been a much bigger success than even we had certainly anticipated, but even more than we had hoped. Um, getting particularly good uh, reviews, even for your food. I thought perhaps you and your crew could cater the party for us, at least in conjunction with our own head chef. Be nice to have some authentic bar foods. Bring a little um, touch of the common man to the party. What do you say? And that's what you hear as you all walk in, and Molly turns around and is like, "Oh, the whole gang's here now."
Ah,
Uh,
damn it. I was
yeah,
gonna go back out and
yeah,
go take our outside stairs up to the upper level
okay.
and come in
Well,
that way.
I mean, if you'd rather do that, right? You can. For those that would rather do that, you can make some stealth checks.
I'm gonna give that a shot.
Okay.
I am as well, but I'm not nearly that good.
Oh god,
Okay.
you know what? I'll use inspiration for this. Oh God.
Mwah!
Okay.
Ted, stop letting your dice touch my dice.
Okay. Um, so, um, Corsonus, as he is bounding up the stairs, upon like he hears the voice and then starts heading up the stairs and then recognizes the voice, right? And as soon as he recognizes the voice, he just eats it, right? And just face plants, right? And
Point of order. I can't be doing that. The stairs are on the outside of the bar.
well, I mean, right.
Oh,
I'm
you
just
mean the
saying,
front
coming up,
door stairs?
right? Coming
Never
up
mind.
here, yeah.
Yeah.
Like
I
you
got
just, right? You just biff it there, right? At which point, like you would have been fine in him, right? Except you recognize the voice and get sort of transfixed, and then just trip over Corsonus.
I trip on Corsonus and my lute makes that awful noise that stringed
Right.
instruments do when they hit
Right.
something.
Right. And Amalia's like, "Oh, Victoro, help them up, please." Victoro just comes up to the door and, being the charming individual that he is, he's like, "Are you two okay?"
Yeah, late night bar
Perfectly fine.
hopping.
Thank you.
Just offers a hand out.
I'm good, thank you very much, though. I can just right here against this table.
Oh,
Hey, we haven't really talked about how inaccessible this building is, huh? We don't have any lifts or ramps or anything. Oh, we should work on that, huh?
Amalia is, it's funny you mentioned that. We spent almost all day over at the courthouse trying to work out permits to have this party at our establishment. I can't believe the amount of paperwork and red tape have a party of this size at a private residence. You'd think that we could just do it, but no, there's concern about the traffic that it will create, and there's concern about how accessible it will be. Even though it's a private party, and we'll have more than enough staff that help anyone with any accessibility concerns. Not to mention, um, levitate is not a complicated spell. Regardless,
Corsonus and I meet eyes. How many people are you planning on having at your estate then?
oh well, we've sent out I think 160, 170 invitations. We figure somewhere, 130 might RSVP yes, and some will bail the day of. But somewhere between, 110, 130 people we expect to be the final count.
Oh,
That is a significant number. My goodness.
Yes, and um, we haven't sent you a formal invitation because part of your invitation would be, um, you'd be working guests at the party, but we would still love to have you, um, along with whatever staff you can bring to, replicate the haunt's um, foodstuffs, and perhaps even this. What what was the game that everyone's talking about, Victoria? Yes, ceiling darts. Yes, yes. If you could somehow manage to get the ceiling darts for our party,
Well, I mean, the ceiling darts are kind of a haunt exclusive. We don't really, it's what draws people here, and we try not to, we don't want to.
Oh, I do.
If you could just play ceiling darts anywhere,
I throw a knife into the roof above me.
I do understand, darling, but perhaps you should consider that if some of my party guests were to get a taste of sealing darts, then they would be more inclined to come here and play it in the only establishment in town that has it on the regular, and they would come with considerable coin to spend. But we are merely bankers, not innkeepers. We will leave the running of your business to you all. You seem to have done quite nicely for yourselves.
I think we could take it into consideration. We'll just need some time to coordinate, I think. With as many guests as you have and such, we could discuss that, right?
Well, that is lovely. We will give you all time to discuss it, and then we will happily accept your answer of yes. We won't take any other type of answer. We do very much look forward to it, and I'm sure all our guests look forward to the delicious foodstuffs that you will prepare for them. I'm sure it will be to die for. Come, Victoria. She leaves, and as Victoria leaves, he just looks over his shoulder and sealing darts and walks out the door.
Ooh.
Well, that went well.
Yeah, do you think as soon as they get home, we're so fucking screwed?
Probably yes.
Let's hope that we're able to get us that translation quick then.
Yes, well, I mean, I don't imagine they'll move against us directly immediately. That would risk admitting we have, and I imagine that would be more dangerous for them than it would be for us. So, just to say that if they do try something, it will be more covert than overt.
True.
I'm not sure if that's better or worse, honestly.
I'll remind you how we did get arrested the first time was just being on the premises uninvited, and we
And fighting the guard.
yeah.
This time there are no guard witnesses to admit that we fought. So, you know.
I suppose we have now only to wait, right?
And for some of us, sleep.
That sounds great.
Wonderful. Anything you all plan on doing with your time this evening, or is it just time to hit the hay? Or are we just are we just fast forwarding to time to hit the hay? I can't imagine any of you are going to sleep at 6 p.m.
Should I message the cop Sale? Nope.
Cromley?
Yeah, I did have it right. Yes, Sale Cromley. Should I message him? I won't be able to send a large message, but I could say something along the lines of have information we'll bring to you tomorrow. Should we just go to say it now?
I think we should probably wait around here for the translation because we don't have anything as we have the journal, which is something, but it's not a promise of anything. If anything, the contract might be more, right? If we like flip through the journal, is there anything in there that we can use?
Um, no, I mean, there's notes about that's where the note about, the stone being an aboleth, that's where, the notes about the keys are, um, but it's there is a what is that line? Hold on a second. Um, uh, yeah, Never Ember's dragons are the answers to our prayers. Um, Galore is an aboleth. Now it all makes sense. Keys acquired. Do we need Never Ember? So whether or not that's enough, I'll leave up to you. I mean, there's other notes in there, but a lot of it's just mundane stuff. There's some party planning stuff in there.
Yeah, I think we have to wait for the contract. So we can meet with him. We can send him a message today and tell him that we have this stuff, but that we are waiting for the translation of it.
That sounds like a good idea.
Okay. 25 words.
Hit me.
We have acquired some potential evidence, getting some translated, hope to bring it by tomorrow. When works for you? What is an aboleth? There we go. I'd say asking for a friend, but I don't have enough words left.
Um, there's a brief pause, and the response you hear is, "Good work. We'll send someone tomorrow to pick you up. It'll look less suspicious. Applesauce is mushed apples."
Well, there you go.
Fucking idiot, saith Cromwell. Thankfully, I don't have any more castings of sending, so I can't actually tell him that until tomorrow, and I'm sure I will have forgotten by then.
I don't think you'll have forgotten that about him.
I don't think so either.
All right. Yeah, Istrid is a bit of a prick up on the fourth floor. Um, you hear some banging. He's clearly banging something against the floor, and Piety is just like since he's been here, he's been doing this. right? And Kaz mixes him a drink and spits in it and then walks upstairs.
Oh,
Um, anything else y'all have before you'd like to call it an evening?
No, it's all good.
Okay. In that case, we'll say around 8 or 9ish, Corsonis. Um, you get a message through your badge. It simply says, "Oh, we'll come by with the translation in the morning. It's not good. Um,
hmm.
it,
Not good as in useless information, or not good as in bad information? Wait, you can't answer me. Never mind.
well, all right. The remainder of the message is just um, anybody you trust to help brainstorm a solution probably going to want to hear this."
Oh. Oh.
Everything okay?
So, who would we trust to brainstorm an attempt to save Waterdeep? You don't really have to answer now, but just think about it, because we might need to call upon them tomorrow.
I think I've got Mert. Oh, and Vincent, maybe. I'm looking at our list of friends, but I don't think we actually have that many people. We have the
We
mage who lives
certainly don't.
the mage down the street. Um. At Corellin's Crown.
Mm-hmm. Uh,
Ayla.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Or Rashal the Page Turner from Bookworm's Treasure.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, probably like I think our
Right.
some of our neighbors may be best suited to this. I don't know that.
Yeah, I mean, there's Corellin's Crown. There's the druid across the street. There's the wizard um, down at the other end of the alley.
Mhm.
Both of who you've had some uh, positive interactions with. Most recently, um, what's their name? Yeah, Thela Lefalier from Corellin's Crown. Like, you are protecting their boyfriend at the moment,
Right.
right? So that's certainly a possibility. Um, I mean, there's plenty of other people that are willing to help you out, whether or not you want to include them in the process. That's
Yeah.
entirely your question. Um,
Yeah.
I do
we're
have a Hail Mary play, but hopefully we won't need to use it.
we're
I think that Hail Mary might be the exact Hail Mary we may need.
Depends on exactly who you're thinking of, but hopefully we won't find out. Rest well.
okay. Um, we're gonna play a little funky with time right now, so that um y'all can take advantage of the break, right? And what I'd like to do is say that you've reached out to whomever it is you want to have show up, right? It sounds well. I mean, Asper and Mert are going to show up. Asper's
Mhm.
got the translation, right? Um, the only other names that I've heard are basically three of your neighbors. Um,
I was fully planning on waiting to hear the news before I
oh,
thought of
before
who to
okay,
contact. Yeah.
great.
And
Well,
my assumption was that you were gonna maybe in the drastic case
mhm.
reach out to the black staff, which if you are, that's the only other person I can think of.
Well, let's do this in that case, right? What I am going to do is provide you with the translation now, right? So that y'all could read it and consider it, and uh, it just it gives you the option to take advantage of some of this break time to digest what you are reading, right?
Mhm.
As opposed to, taking a 15 or 20-minute break and then coming back and then potentially taking another 15 or 20 minutes
Yeah.
to read it and figure out what's going on and consider options and all that sort of stuff. So let me um make sure that uh, everyone has this. Can everybody see that?
No.
Nope. Ah, there it goes.
Ah.
Okay. And the the font on the contract is super fucky, so the translation is underneath it. And with that, we will head to break.
They're still either going to be stealing this amount of money from wherever it is to whatever harm that may bring, or they're going to, I think, maybe use their party as a way of getting out of this contract. They said they're going to have good 100 so guests.
Mark chimes in. Yeah, I mean, that occurred to us too, but what good is it saving your kids if you're immediately thrown in jail for killing 100 people? Like, I mean,
Well,
what
I mean,
what patsies would they have to blame those murders on?
most of their guards that we dealt with, at least, were demonic in nature. So at the very least, other than the obvious blaming us since we were invited, um, at the very least, they could simply have their demonic guards do the harvesting and simply blame it on a demonic incursion.
Yeah, but that doesn't work so well, considering it's now known that they are worshippers of Asmodeus. Like, even without the contract, if they were worshippers of Asmodeus and had a party and devils showed up and killed everybody, finger would still be pointing at them. You said you guys were invited to the party? You're guests at the party? That's pretty cool.
We were invited to cater. That that is almost certainly how they expected to.
And entertain. I'll throw another dart at the ceiling.
Ah, yes, good old ceiling darts.
It's
Yeah,
catching
no,
on
glad,
though.
glad I invented this.
How do you mean that's how they plan on how they plan on what?
Well, I mean, if they hired us to cater and then the food were poisoned, they would have their souls and we would suffer the blame. After all, we are in a substantial amount of debt to them, and so I'm sure they could try to spin it as the crazy people that have broken into their house and accused them of horrible things, to whom they owed a lot of money, who owed them a lot of money were simply trying to.
Yeah, I think it goes without saying that maybe catering that party's a bad idea.
Hmm.
While we're having this conversation, I'm just tearing pages out of the debt books and tossing them into the fire.
Okay. Um. So, well, we know where they were planning on getting 100 bodies, 100 souls at this point. And I mean, we know where they were planning on getting half of the gold. Where do you think the other half of that gold was coming from?
I mean, they're bankers. They probably were getting their money from this, and I'll hold up one of the books before tossing it fully in the fire. I don't know. I don't know how much money the rich people
Wait,
have, but
wait, those are their bank records?
oh yeah, I'll toss another one in.
Otsteel goes diving into the fire to grab the books.
I can just. I will summon a mage hand.
Yours is invisible.
True.
Um,
True.
he, as presumably one of the books goes floating out of the fireplace, he doesn't know. Well, I guess he hears you cast Mage Hand, right? So he just sort of
Nope.
Nope, not
okay.
that either.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
I
not the
have
way
the
you do it.
telekinetic feat. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, not the way you do it. Right. So, like, he sees the book floating out of the fireplace, and as he's sort of patting some fire out on his sleeves, he just to the room says, "I appreciate it, but believe me, I've suffered worse working with Xanathar. Um, let's see if we can't find out where the rest of this money's coming from." And he just starts leafing through the books. Well, and Asper chimes in and says, "Well, it looks like we've got them dead to rights. We understand why they wanted the Never Ember's dragons. We understand how they planned on harvesting the souls, and there's at least circumstantial evidence about who they planned on blaming for it. It's a decent chance, assuming that someone hasn't burned them already, that Art will get to the bottom of where they plan on getting the rest of the gold. I'd say that's a job well done. It sounds like if we hand all of this over, the Castellantas will be finished.
Well, I mean, I think that's missing a pretty big problem. If we stop them, and we should stop them from killing 99 people, but that still leads to their children being infinitely damned.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you can call up Asmodeus, Dark Prince of the Nine Hells, Dread Tyrant of the Bator Throne, Lord of Lies, et al., and say, hey, please, would y'all mind, like, just ending this? What do you think?
Or, could talk to that Hairsome fellow, right? He seemed weird, maybe powerful. He might be able to help wiggle out of, or help save the children if we do what he wanted. That we were super enthused about doing what he wanted either, but
I mean,
maybe
how would he be able to?
Yeah, I'm less inclined to believe that he can help, given he sent his good friend Yanogu a message.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think that might be the reason he might be able to interfere in a way that we can't.
Well, I mean, I'm no expert on contractual law or anything, but like, there's only two ways that this contract is ended.
Unless we have another crazy powerful entity that has reached out to us with the intent of doing us a favor if we do them a favor.
I mean, in all my understanding of the theogony of the realms, you know, there's nothing that there's nothing powerful enough to break infernal law. I mean, unless you think Yanogu can convince Asmodeus that this isn't in his best interests.
They're not friends, are they?
Doesn't seem likely. Yanogu's a... I have no idea. Doesn't sound like a devil, though.
I'm just saying, if we wanted to reach out to other weird things that are happening to us, we do have other weird things happening to us. Maybe this would be the time to speak with the authorities.
Yes, I did tell Saith I would bring this by.
Following that, is there anyone else we should tell? Or anyone we definitely shouldn't tell? Because I still vote we shouldn't tell Jarl Axel.
No, I don't see any way that he can help at this point. If it was just a question of the dragons, I would be willing to work something out, but with the souls required as well, there doesn't seem to be any way to break this contract short of the Grand Tour, and that seems unlikely.
Yeah, maybe we can put more heads to it and save these kids.
But, do you all know anyone that might know more about Asmodeus or be good at gathering information? I mean, clearly, we can't allow the sacrifice of 99 lives, even to save these two children.
I mean, if there were a way to find 99 souls that were already lost, but even still, this would be taking them from whatever afterlife they were promised and uh, forcing them into the Legio Infernum.
Right? I mean, I do, at least in theory, like the idea of finding something powerful enough and perhaps with an axe to grind, right? Or, wanting to trade favors with a lot of you, right? That might be able to take up this cause as well, because I don't see how any, even all of us in this room, could offer anything would make Asmodeus voluntarily give up.
There wouldn't happen to be like 99 death row inmates or something.
Well, now, I mean, that seems even that
Yeah,
seems...
I certainly don't want to actually do that. I don't believe in the industrial prison complex anyways, so
We know. We've watched you.
As you have made very clear, by the way. Well done. Well done.
I, but I mean, I think again, like the only thing we could do is to appeal to a form of an equivocal power, and
Or a greater. We can ask the gods.
it's true. A lot of them I don't think are, frankly, well,
Is anybody here particularly religious?
eh.
I mean,
Piety intentionally gets into
piety
the
is...
kitchen.
Yeah.
To be fair, I don't think
Personus
piety
does
is
the thing where you just sort
religious.
of like surreptitiously look at someone, look away, look at someone, look away.
Piety isn't per se religious. Piety is just sort of involved, which I think would do.
Piety behind the bar.
Nice.
I
I'm
think
just saying, occasionally Ilmater speaks to piety. That's not nothing.
it's true, but it's certainly not religious. It's just sort of involved, hands-on.
I'm just saying, the next time that Ilmater decides to drop by, piety could put in a good word. Huh? Huh?
I do think he of
Can't
all,
hurt.
yeah, I think of all, he may be the best we could appeal to.
Mhm. But I couldn't imagine that. I mean, why would any god have power over the binding magic of the hells? You know?
Maybe not that, but maybe we are able to. I don't want to say get audience with Asmodeus, but a higher power could bend the ear such that we could maybe
Offer
offer.
something different, something greater. Do you think he'd take our souls in place of the 100? I mean,
Hmm, probably not, and I don't think I'm inclined to that answer either, but there might be something. I mean, there is things that are within the Horde that we have access to now, theoretically, uh, that he may want more than gold or souls. We already know that there's a magic dragon beacon thing.
That serves
On the,
as the protection for Waterdeep. I'm not sure that should go to.
oh no, that's not me saying that's on the table. It's just that that's already in there, and so I would imagine there's at least like one other cool thing in there on par with it, right?
True, yes. I don't think we'll get anywhere pondering what ifs right now. I suggest that we take this information as best we can to Saith. Let the guards go about the business of protecting these individuals at the party from whatever machinations the Castellanters have in mind. We, in the aftermath, can head...
Mert interrupts you. It's like, you think we should still let him have the party?
No, that's my point.
Oh,
Is that
okay.
we here cannot do much to stop the party, but
I got you. I thought you were saying, like, let the party go on and just have more people there protecting. I see. Okay. My apologies.
no.
But wouldn't that be dramatic?
I mean, I can.
Mert looks at you, Nim, and just shakes his head. It's a fucking bards.
I can't imagine Saith suddenly bursting into the room, knocking a fork out of someone's hand. The food is poisoned. But
I don't think we should.
also, I can
we should
imagine that
deny him
coming
that.
after several people have eaten and turned blue. So, and we would still take the blame. So, my thought is go to Saith. Let Saith put use this to put a stop to the party in general. Meanwhile, we can then head to the Sea Ward and find out if perhaps there is something in the Horde that we might be able to use to save the two Castellanters.
What if, according to the contract, the souls are free until they are 9?
Hmm.
They, if the souls already belonged to someone else before they hit 9th birthday, they wouldn't be free to be claimed
Well, I
anymore.
think the point is that they are. I think by claim that is when they show up to kill the children and take them. As in, they already own them. They're simply letting them. Oh, forgive this word. Ripen.
Mm-hmm. I think that it might be possible to, it says explicitly that the souls are free right now. They are not owned. So, if they were
I think that's
under express permission or express ownership by some, other power that could contest the claim.
that seems like the sort of legalese that Asmodeus would be using to their advantage instead of disadvantage. But I like where this is going.
Zashel!
You need to get a documenter in here quick.
You both played Documancers. What the fuck?
Yeah, it's hard for Tyler to stop trying to look for loopholes because this character certainly doesn't have that kind of. This character is honestly, if played a little better, is like, well, let's just go kick Asmodeus's ass. And
Well, excellent. I think, if you don't mind, Ott will hold on to the accounting books just to try and figure out how much additional cash the Castellantiers already have, just to see if there's some other avenue they're trying to exploit to get the remainder. You can certainly tell City Guard that we'll be happy to share this information with them. We're not trying to uh, hide it from them or keep them from it. It's just Ott has already started the process, and it seems like time is of the essence. Um, unless you all have any objection, um, I think I am going to choose wisely, but also widen the circle considerably about what to do about these children. I, like we've discussed, I do not see a solution, but I'm also not comfortable washing my hands of it entirely and just saying their fate is sealed. Do any of you have any objections?
No, especially I think if Saith, if this information allows Saith to move against the Castellanters directly and arrest them, then that should uh, reduce the danger you would be in by risking exposure to them.
Excellent. Well, I hope your conversation goes well. I would also encourage you to broaden the circles with which you look for solutions to this particular problem. It certainly does not look good for Terenzio Nazurium. And I do believe that we will never see poor Oswaldo's return from boarding school. Seems he has gone somewhere else entirely. Mert reaches out his hand and holds hands with Asper, gives a little squeeze. Oh. It's about this time that two city guards knock on the door to the haunt. Excuse me? Excuse me? Corsonus, Exidia, Nim? We have paperwork here demanding your presence at the courthouse. Post haste.
Does this count as an arrest?
If you say yes, she'll beat the shit out of you.
And then it will be an arrest.
It's not
I'm
yet.
really
That's the
conflicted because
important
on
part.
one side, I refuse to be arrested again. On the other, hat trick.
You you do tricks with your hat, you say?
No, I don't wear hats. What are you talking about?
Uh, But you
Yes,
do
yes, yes. On to the
wonderful. All right.
before we really do get into a fight in the middle of our tap room at this hour of the morning. Let's remember our mission.
I just want it known I am following along because that is the path that I choose to take, and I am not acquiescing to any demands of any authoritative figures.
Lead on.
One of the guards leans in towards you, Corsonus. It's like, oh, we were told to make it look like you were under arrest, but you wanted to come down and is that what's it going on here?
Better you're unaware. Just we are surrendering to the authorities, and Exidia is is
Anti-establishment.
no, I was going to say our legal counsel, and so is not actually surrendering, and therefore not acquiescing to any sort of legal control. Simply the other two of us. Everybody, that works for everybody?
It's
It
really
works
too
for
early.
me.
Really too early. Let's go to the courthouse. The other guard nudges the first guy. I thought there were going to be tricks with hats. And off you go. They lead you in through the courthouse. I believe this is the first time you have been led into the courthouse through the non-prisoner entrance.
Yay!
Are you guys sure this is the right place?
Yes.
You're usually seeing it from the other side.
I'm saying I've been here pretty often.
No, see, if you turn around and walk towards it backwards.
Oh, yeah, I see. Yeah.
Wonderful. So you are led up to poor magistrate's office, who is no more. Saith Cromley and Barnabas Blastwind are waiting for you in there. They tell this night to fuck right off and give you all some privacy. So the two entrances are now being guarded, and the five of you are alone. Saith looks at you and, all right, what have you got for me?
I just figured it out. We don't have to worry about the kids. Obviously, I mean, their parents don't own their souls. So, they can't sign away the kids' souls. They're independent. Easy. Asmodeus is stupid.
What?
Yeah,
Why
what?
why would the Castellaners be allowed to forfeit the souls of their children? The souls of their children belong to their children.
Can somebody start at the beginning, please?
Yeah, I'll plunk down the translation of the.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, it's all good. We don't have anything to worry about.
I don't. You're very wrong about that.
I'm positive I'm correct that everyone has ownership of their own soul from the moment of birth.
I mean, you're correct. I think philosophically about it, but it is the Castellantiers who decided to have unprotected sex and have children, and so they were like immediately offering sacrifice.
Well, I mean, but that's not the children's fault.
Yeah, but neither is the fault of any guest who goes to their party and gets murdered.
Well, yeah, but I mean, at no point did my parents ever own my soul.
I'm just saying they actually can sign away the souls because it's not about property, it's about violence. Anyway, have you finished reading the contract yet?
Yeah, this is bad. I mean it's good work on your part, and clearly we're gonna have to put an end to this party.
Yeah.
Uh, Poor kids.
You know what? Maybe we talk to the kids. Maybe they're stoked to become legionnaires.
Yeah, I don't think that's a great idea.
I mean, look, we could stop this party, and we could stop the 99 people or so from potentially being murdered at said party. Presumably, we could stop them from getting these dragons. But I don't think the city guard has either the resources or the knowledge to save these two kids from Asmodeus.
Oh no, we not to sound offensive, but we really didn't think that would be the case. We were more
Oh,
focusing on.
thank God, and saith wipes a huge bit of flop sweat from his brow. Look, well, I want to do the right
We were
thing.
more
And,
leaning on you for the first thing, for stopping the party and saving the people from being killed.
okay, yeah, great. Blood off the streets. That's our thing. We can certainly do that. Um, Asmodeus off the streets. That's not really uh, in our wheelhouse. But do we have any idea how we can? I mean, do you have any idea? Is there anything that can be done? And if you're right, Exidia, where's Oswaldo? Also,
Who's Oswaldo
I've
again?
been waiting all
There.
campaign to say where's Oswaldo. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oswaldo was the Castellanter's first child who
Yeah.
died.
No, he's supposed to be coming back within a couple of days, as the children reported. In 2 weeks.
How
Ah.
old is this Oswaldo supposed to be?
Oswaldo's I don't know, at this point, 14 or 15. It's been how long has he been away at boarding school? Yeah, 3 or 4 years, I think. So maybe a little younger than that.
Yeah, so he was
Well,
sent away during the period he would have been signed off.
no,
Sounds
no.
like he's a
Well,
legionnaire.
or he was 5 when this deal was brokered and was then given 9 years. It's not
Ah,
age of 9. They are given 9 years.
no, I mean it says on each soul's 9th birthday.
Ah, that's true. You're right. I wonder if that
Yeah.
overrides any such souls shall enjoy 9 years of freedom, because it also talks about any offspring their union has brought forth. So
Hmm. Well, any such like, if he was 5 when this contract came into being, he has already had 5 years of freedom, so he gets 4 more.
true. I was seeing this contract as guaranteeing the next 9 years, but that's a question for Asmodeus, which, frankly, I have no interest in actually approaching him for this. So carry on. Either way, either he's a legionnaire or he's going to become one shortly. So not good either way. Shall we to the Sea Ward?
Yeah. So to recap, you two and everyone here, right? And he circles like the like finger to the room, are going to prevent that party from happening at every cost, and we will go and figure other shit out. Right?
No, certainly. Yeah, I think that's definitely the course of action. We're gonna shut this thing down. We're gonna do everything we can to. Uh, I mean, we're certainly shutting the party down. That's not gonna happen. We're
And neither of you knew what an aboleth was, right?
I mean, I don't. But is that what you said last night?
It was telepathic communication. It's very clear.
Well, I mean, you woke me up, so I'm sorry if I was a little foggy, right? I mean, I don't know what that is, but like, even not knowing what it is, it makes more sense that you'd be asking about some weird shit than asking about applesauce. Like, who doesn't know what applesauce
Yes,
is?
and yet you still answered it. Never mind. Never mind. I'm leaving. I'm leaving. Goodbye. Good luck.
Great, thanks. I'll give him 2 thumbs up and walk out.
Fantastic. Yeah, so they are. The city guard has now promised to make sure the party does not happen and handle the castle and tears, whatever that means. Um,
Yay!
what
We did
is
1/3 of the puzzle.
what
Yeah,
is
but it
your
was the
plan?
border, the easy part.
Yeah. Uh, I should we go to the Sea Ward next, or should we take the opportunity while we're uh about and free to hit the library for any information on what the stone might be?
Yeah, I suppose we could. It's do do we think that information will be necessary now?
I mean, our next step would be to go to the Sea Ward and begin puzzling through towards the Horde, right?
Correct.
So I think we should know what we're going to see down there, right?
Well, we have the stone. That's not the aboleth. I mean, what's down there is not the aboleth. The stone is the aboleth, he said.
Yeah, and if we're going to be handling it and working with it, I think it'd be a good idea if we knew what it was.
Fair enough.
So to the New Olam Library, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll go here then for the time being. Um You wind your way north and west. Nim, you are maybe feeling a little trepidation as you first walk on campus, but then you realize there are no more paper birds following you around regarding debt. And feel free to uh, roam the campus at your leisure. As you head towards and into uh, the library, uh, you hear a bit of commotion as a half orc at the front desk, is head tilted towards the floors above, is just shy of a scream. How many times do I have to tell you there is no food in the library?
I start like lightly jogging in the direction that person has directed their scream.
As
Xenia
you're
starts eating a turkey like much faster than before.
nice, as you're trotting up the stairs, a half a meatball sub with a bite out of it um, comes flying down. I mean, not literally flying, but has been thrown down. It's like, that's the last one, I swear.
I just body slam him.
In a tone of, well, you don't see him immediately. You just see the meatball sub flying down.
Yeah,
But you can.
yeah. I find him and
Okay,
body slam.
gotcha. Yo, look who it is. It's
Is
good to
there a
see you.
meatball sub on the floor now?
Yeah, there is.
I will pick it up and bring it back to him.
Fantastic. You do that. He's already pulled out another full meatball sub from his sub pocket in his coat. In his
I'll
coat.
just cheers him with this meatball sub.
Hey, yeah. That's good thinking, Zixidia. But to what do I owe this pleasure?
You wouldn't happen to know of a way to hide 2 children from the Lord of the Nine Hells, would you?
Or what an aboleth is.
You can answer them one at a time.
Should picked the wrong morning to stop drinking coffee. Wow. Good morning. It's nice to see yous. It's your boy, Brisket.
I do a little secret one-handed handshake with it, like the little like hand slap together thing.
He does it, and it's both absolute perfection, and it's done so nonchalantly, like it's almost like he's half asleep as he's doing it.
I'm fucking obsessed. I half expected my hand to come away with a meatball in
it. I'm pretty certain his sleight of hand rolls are higher than that. Yeah, so he's like, well, look, I don't know these things like off the top of my head. But I mean, this is a library. Chances are good that it's not the most religious of libraries, but chances are decent that at least some of this information will be in here. However, look, I love you guys, especially you, Nim, but we go back. But look, I draws the line at child trafficking. So if you're getting into some dark shit, I'm afraid I can't be involved.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
I
exactly what
think
we're
you
trying to
missed the
stop, you
yeah, I
know?
think you missed
Like,
the
we're
point
trying to
of that.
stop some children from getting inducted into an eternal legion of devils.
Oh, all right. So like on the side of good and shit.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Always. Always.
All right. Well, uh, let's uh let's see what we can figure out. Um, okay. I'm gonna need a couple minutes. Astra, you gotta move. I know you're very comfortable, but I need access to some of that stuff. Thank you, sweetheart. Okay. Um. All right. Who's researching what?
I think I feel like we'll be able to get answers about the aboleth faster, so that's the direction I'm headed. I kind of have a feeling we're not going to be able to find an answer about the contract thing here, but we can try.
Yeah, the aboleth is far more immediately pressing to me because once we have that, we can go into the Sea Ward.
Okay.
I mean, we could find, not that Corsonas would know what they are, we could find 99 soul coins down there and be like, here you go, fucker.
These are
Nice.
just laying around. You know what? These
Right.
4 assholes were driving around and it was just falling out of their wagons.
Nice. Um. Yeah. Although it does occur to me now, like, I wonder what the situation. Like, have those already been claimed? Right. And that.
Specifically, no. Soul coins
Okay.
are not claimed by anyone.
Awesome.
Which is why they're able to be used as currency still.
Right. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Let's those of you researching aboleths, let's I think I'd like to see arcana checks for that, unless someone would like to make a case for another skill.
I would love to do an Arcana check, but I'd also love to give Bardic Inspiration if I can.
Sure.
I know it's a bit of a stretch of the length of time, but I'll give one to each of you guys.
I am searching for uh
Meatball sub recipes.
anything on the 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 ownership of one's soul.
Okay.
Anything about uh you know yeah that.
Okay.
God damn it! Good luck, Corsonas. Nice.
Yep, doing great. I will
You
spend
have.
an inspiration before
You also
I.
have
Yeah,
a Bardic, a D8.
Am I still looking
one
at
more inspiration.
uh
Um
I guess Arcana and Religion are the same for me here.
yeah, I
And I
mean,
don't think
you
magic
should probably
would
make a
change.
religion check.
Yeah.
Um
31.
Excellent. Um
That was worth the 2 inspiration.
yeah.
Hey, nice.
Okay. Um
Drop that D8.
Very nice.
Nice.
Okay. A couple things. The easy stuff first. Nim, um, you start investigating this, but very quickly are, go down a rabbit hole of fables and tall tales and other interesting theatrical bits that are tangentially related to mythical creatures, and just sort of find that more interesting and engrossing than any factual information about aboleths. Corsonis, you, on the other hand, discover essentially all of the basic information that we all know about aboleths. Um, in addition, right, um, you learn specifically, right, of their both their psionic and their psychic powers, right, and that they, um, as you are researching, like not just what an aboleth is, right, but how it relates to like this object that you have, because as you first start finding information, right, it doesn't really make a ton of sense, right, that um you can hold something as powerful as what is being described in your hand, right, and that yes, this thing is speaking to you, but it's also inert. Physically it's a stone, right, and so the two of those things seem a bit incongruous, right? But as you research more, you realize that it is likely that this stone is not an aboleth in and of itself, but is a conduit to some aboleth. Why it has chosen, right, to why it initially spoke with Renauld Neverember, and why it continues to speak and what its ultimate goal is are not things that you can ascertain from research, right? But it does seem likely that it has some larger goal that it is trying to achieve, right? Th- that its psionic powers, right, have and its otherworldly existence, right, have given it insight into this longer worldview from however far away or however many planes away, those elements of it are just too much for you to grasp. But it seems clear that the Stone of Galore is clearly a connection to this greater eldritch being that is using all of you, right, to achieve some greater end that is unknowable. Um,
Hey
City.
guys,
Yeah, yeah,
guess
go
what?
for it.
You know how we have enough things fucking with our lives by now? Have I got news for you?
Again?
That's it. That's the whole gag.
Okay, awesome. Um, yeah, with your role, Exidia, you learn a couple, right? Um, First and foremost, right? You learn that while um religiously and ethically, um, an individual's soul, including children's souls, right, are their own, right? When it comes to contract law, certainly within the city of Waterdeep, right, and in most civilized locations, um, parents frequently sign things for their children. And it is rare, in fact, that children are allowed to exert their own personhood until they reach whatever age is determined to be maturity um, in that society and for those individuals. Furthermore, you learn that although he is the Lord of the Nine Hells, um, Asmodeus is very much about order and the letter of the law, and that it is unlikely, bordering on unheard of, right? That um, a contract that Asmodeus has written would have loopholes that he was unaware of. So, which is not the greatest news in terms of that particular line of thinking. However, in addition, right, you learn a little bit more about Asmodeus and just how unpopular he is with, you know, the not surprisingly, but with the good aligned deities. Um, you also learn that um, there not surprising. It's not all harmony amongst the devils either, and uh, Levistus, Despater, and Mammon in particular um, have and continue to have issues with Asmodeus.
Any luck on your law degree, Exidia?
Whoever decided that civilization was a good thing was fucking stupid.
Okay.
Oh,
I mean, somewhere at some point, someone decided that parents get to sign away their children's souls. And everyone was just like, yeah, that's cool. That makes sense.
I don't know that that has to do with civilization so much as it has to do with the devils and demons, but I take your point.
Anyways,
So,
maybe another devil might be able to intervene somehow, though that doesn't make sense. I don't know their hierarchy that well. Also, that would mean promising something else to someone else.
wait,
Here's some.
are you guys planning on mixing it up with the likes of Asmodeus and Levistus?
Wasn't
Because
wasn't really planning on it.
oh,
Oh
good, because
no.
I got to say that sounds like an awful idea.
I mean, I gotta find some way to free these kids from their parents' idiocy.
All right, well, look, uh, you're talking about emancipated minor. Like that's sort of my jam. Like I'll do whatever I can to help out. I mean, not whatever. I'm not fucking with those devil guys you were just talking about, but I'm certainly here to help. You know, been known to get out of a jam or two. What else do you know about this situation? I mean, clearly there have been other people that have had these sorts of problems. You figured you found any information about things like that?
You talking about like records of people successfully breaking a contract, or
Well, yeah. I mean, who do you know that would be really good at like breaking a contract? Like maybe they got some ideas for you. Do you know anybody? Who do you know that's good at getting information who could find out things about people that are good at breaking contracts?
Guys, I think I hate to admit it, but it might be time to talk to the 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 jar guy.
Well, we could also speak to not Victor, who's the guy we hired. We kept calling him Victor, and it's not
Vincent.
Victor. Vincent.
Yeah, I mean, uh, Mr. Jars a lot got us out of our little thing. He might be the kind of person that can smuggle kids beneath Asmodeus's nose.
I mean, that's less about smuggling them, though. I mean, it's one thing to get one over on the law here, but on Asmodeus? I feel that would take some
I
far
mean,
beyond something far beyond immortal.
yeah, I mean, we don't know what he's up into. He might have a contract with like a god of time that can just have the kids fast forward through their ninth year or something, and then suddenly they're 10 and they never got claimed, or you know.
Oh,
Again, I think if a powerful deity laid claim to their souls earlier, I think, it would not be claimable. But I don't have a monitor on speed dial or anything. Not that I think Jars a lot does either.
Maybe we can have more time to think about it while we're uh, trying to find out what else might be locked away in the Sea Ward.
Mhm. Yeah, I think if we go to Mr. J, he's gonna be like, "Oh yeah, I can take care of this. I've got 99 souls on hand. What do you want for them?"
well,
Well,
I
I
mean,
mean,
we know what he wants.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, none of this information has been what we really wanted, but at least we know? Question mark?
They say it.
Somehow
No
I
one's half the battle. Sounds like you guys are halfway there.
Yeah, I mean the other half is just fighting Asmodeus. So no biggie.
All right. Good morning. Good to see you.
Thanks for the sub.
Anytime. Pulls out another sub from his cloak. Then be careful sitting down.
Can you repeat that?
Yeah, be careful sitting down. All right, have a good one. He disappears into the stacks, starts screaming at something, whether it exists or not. Like, who's to say? But he seems pretty animated about it.
All right. We have sort of heading, right?
Sort of. There's a tower in the Sea Ward. Oh gosh, where is the map? What am I talking about? You're the map. Take us to the tower in the Sea Ward.
Yeah, and I mean, due to your buddy, the Stone of Galore, you know exactly where you are going.
Yet all I thought to put in my notes was tower in the Sea Ward. Helpful,
Um,
Ted.
no,
Helpful
no,
past.
like that's not just all you've put in your notes. That's all that exists.
Oh,
Actually, it
oh,
doesn't
good
even
job.
say
That's
SeaWorld.
Ted.
In the book. It's just like, yeah, there's a tower. It's in Waterdeep. Take them there. I'm like, okay, great, thanks. All right. Um, where did we? There. Yeah, great. So you arrive at a uh, tower in the Sea Ward. It is from the outside. Calling it a tower is uh, a bit generous. It appears more like a 3-story like storage silo that has a small 1-story house connected to it. Um, it is not in great shape. Um, the tower or silo portion of it is in worse shape than the uh, the home portion, um, the rather small home portion. All of it seems structurally intact. It just seems like hasn't really been cared for all that much. And you find yourselves, I mean, it just standing out in front of it. What would you like to do?
Do you think it's just inside?
Well, we're here. I tap the stone of, hello? Hello?
Oh, are you talking to the stone?
Now he is.
Yeah.
Okay.
When he's, well, we're here. Hello?
Yeah, I was just unclear whether you were talking to the stone or whether you were like talking to the tower at this point. But okay. Um. Yes, so you've made it to the tower, I understand. Well, go inside.
It says we're to go inside.
Okay. I'll knock first, but then gently open the door if it's open.
Uh, as you knock, almost immediately you hear, "Can I help yous?"
Yes. We're supposed to come inside.
Uh, hold on a second. You hear some traipsing around inside, and about 2 minutes later, uh, lady of the house wants to know who you are and why you think you're supposed to come inside.
The lady of the house. I'm sorry, who lives here?
So, y'all don't have any business here. Could you scram, please?
No, we are supposed to be here. There's sort of a matter of stately emergency precedent.
Uh,
Should we
I
just
I don't
say Galore sent us?
I don't know what that. Hold on a second. Um, you hear footsteps walking away from the door again, and this time, after 2 or 3 minutes, you hear multiple sets of footsteps coming towards the door, and the door is swings open rather abruptly, and you see a young woman, uh, black hair, like a dark sleeveless top, leather pants, sort of a shawl, very thin though, pale complexion, and she, who are you? Oh, wait, I know, I know you. You're the ones who saved November. Yeah, of course. Come in, fucking idiots. I don't know why I pay you, right? And as you are assuming you're following her in as she invites you
Yeah.
in.
Yeah. Do do we recognize her at all?
Nope,
Okay.
nope,
Not somebody we've met before.
not a thing. Right? She's chastising what is clearly like four guards that are like sitting in the vestibule. Um, as you can see, clearly playing cards there. You know, but she quickly ushers you past them, right? Apologizes for their idiocy, right? And as she brings you in to um, what is sort of a combination, very small kitchen and sitting room just inside the vestibule, um, she sits you down, offers you all tea, and before getting an answer from any of you, is already pouring you all tea and is excitedly saying, I knew I was onto something um, when I purchased this place. And this is just confirmation. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. I assume you're here for the dragons.
I'm sorry, who are you again?
Oh, apologies. Uh, I'm Esveli Rosnar. I purchased this place some time ago. After doing some research, I realized that the former owner was a very close friend of Renault Neverember's, and uh, having heard the rumors about uh, why he was kicked out in disgrace, um, I thought, well, uh, good a chance as any that this is in fact where those dragons were hidden. Um, and I'm assuming that by your arrival here, uh, I am correct in that assumption.
Yeah. Right? I'll look at the other two and just kind of nod.
Okay, yes, I'm sorry, but that is your name. Um who are you? Are, are you simply I how did you even know about them to purchase this place?
Well, about the dragons?
About this place, I mean,
Well, like I said, I like many people have heard the rumor of the dragons. Right? It was nothing more than that, really. But November was kicked out for a reason. Seemed as reasonable a reason as any, and I began looking into it. didn't find any evidence to suggest that he did, but also didn't find any evidence to suggest that he didn't. Um, I saw that this piece of shit property in the Sea Ward was owned for many, many, many years by some crazy old coot who never ever became quite close with for no apparent reason. And I thought, well, the property's not very expensive and seems like a reasonable place that if it were to be true, that seems a reasonable place to hide them. So I bought it sort of as a lottery ticket, and it seems as if my lottery ticket just paid off.
Yeah. Uh, yeah. It's all right if we look around.
No, it most certainly is not. We have business to discuss.
I
Okay.
suppose you think by purchasing this tower you are somehow then entitled to some of whatever it is we would possibly find.
Um, I suppose you think because I let you in, you're entitled to remain in here. Like, it seems like we should be discussing how we're going to split this up.
We are not.
It's all stolen from the city. We're trying to return it to where it belongs.
If
But you're
necessary, we can simply contact the guards or the black staff and explain this situation. This is
okay. Well, then the city can come get it. Like, look, I mean,
I work for the city. I am Force Grey. That is why I'm here. I will produce my badge.
she starts laughing.
Once
Look,
again, this
look,
concept of ownership that is so ridiculous.
look. No offense, but if the city really wanted to come take its 500,000 dragons back, they'd send more than 3 people. Right? You need to understand this from my perspective.
Provided they had the information that we have, perhaps.
Okay, so you're not sharing the information with the city. Even more of an indication that the
Have
city
not
isn't
shared
involved
it.
in this.
That was my point, is I am more than happy to get the city involved in this.
Great.
I
So
a
let's have a discussion.
500,000 coins that you think you are entitled to because you bought the place?
Hey, how do you intend to stop us from conducting our search? Because unless you have some means by which you intend to stop us, we'll be getting on with what we're here to do.
Okay. I think we
You
have
may
all.
you may leave now. And she
Yeah.
stands up.
Hey,
I-
Galore, where am I supposed to go from here?
She calls the guards and Galore's like, to the vault.
Yes, you were supposed to guide us there.
You're in the tower. Just go to the vault. It's not complicated. The tower's not large.
I'm going to give just one more opportunity to everyone, like, take a step back. and realize that we will all of us get into a lot of trouble if we keep with this animosity. We're trying to help the city. We would like your cooperation. We're not trying to invade or otherwise. And he like looks at his companions. We're trying to do the right
Finger
thing
across his
for
forehead.
everyone here.
You're not trying to do the right thing for everyone here. I'm the individual that said we should have a discussion about how we're going to work together and what we're going to split up. What you all have told me is that I need to get out of the way and get out of my home so that you might take the dragons, of which I certainly have a claim to some of them.
Based
Yeah.
on buying this house.
You have a claim to some of them in the way that everyone else in this entire city has a claim to them, and you will get your piece. We are not here to keep them for ourselves either.
She pulls out a rapier and says, "Get out of my house."
Moments like this, I'm very glad that I did not take Fireball, because that would be my answer. I leave.
Yeah.
Where y'all headed?
To the street where I look at the both of them and say, all right, next time, maybe we all just take a breath instead.
Nonsense. She was being ridiculous.
Well, I agree, but we didn't really give her we didn't give her, I think, a proper. I mean, she bought this place who knows how long ago with the expectation she'd get something of it, and we sort of walked in swinging and
I am
saying,
not. I am not
absolutely not.
responsible for her ridiculous expectations.
I listen. But it was ludicrous. But at the same time, uh, we have already been arrested for trespassing on nobility property, and we had the opportunity to have that happen again and again. Uh, a little bit more, I think, tact would have gone a long way just then.
Am sick of this city and everyone in it suddenly putting out their hand when we are trying to do the right thing and getting in the fucking way. That seems to be the pastime of Waterdeep. Present company excluded.
It's just that it's 50,000.
It's
Everybody,
500,000. Everyone wants a part,
right?
but no one's entitled to any of them. This is not like this is money that Never Ember took from their piggy banks. This was legally acquired by the city through taxation. If they have a problem with the taxes, they're welcome to take it up with the nobility. They have my sympathies. But the idea that everyone is just, oh, I'm not going to let you do this thing unless you pay me. Well, I'm not going to pay them. We can find another way. We have found other ways before. I am confident we will find other ways again.
All right. So he looks at the sun. Back across town so that we can talk with the city guard again.
No, I'm confident. I'm content to look around here, see what we can see. Perhaps Galore will provide something more useful than you're in the tower, go to the vault. If it was that simple, I imagine in all the years that this individual had been living here, they would have found the vault. So, that's not exactly helpful. But we'll see what we can find.
All right. I'm gonna head to the the City Watch. Yeah. Good luck.
Okay, so I'm clear. Corsonis, you are sticking around the tower to try and find some alternate solution. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay. Um, Nim, you are looking uh for blast wind and crumb. Is that correct?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. Exidia, what's your plan?
Think go sit on a stump and wait.
Okay.
Try to brainstorm other ways to get out of a contract with Asmodeus.
Okay. Love it. Love it. Let's start with Corsonis. What's the plan?
I will start by finding a place to settle up and see what I can see. I will Echo fly to the top of this structure and just sort of give me a layout.
Okay. Yeah, it's
Not going inside, just literally around the street, like outside, up to the top, get a look
okay.
at it.
Yeah, it's real simple. There's 2 stories, right? And it's hard to tell whether or not there's an attic in sort of the spy or the roof of um the silo area. Um there's 4 tiny windows on the second floor, one at, you know, noon, 3, 6, and 9, right? They're uh narrow, relatively long, but narrow, and just up on the second floor. Um, there are or were similar windows on the first floor. They've all been bricked up, and there's a front door. Windows are open if you want to send Echo in.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, on the second floor, there's nothing. There's a spiral staircase going down. The spiral staircase goes down. You're in the sitting room that uh, is sitting room slash kitchen that you were in previously, and you see the passageway to um, the sort of foyer area where the guards were sitting. Both of those rooms are empty. Um, Spiral staircase continues down. There is a small cellar. It contains a wooden table and chairs that they all look like they were made from old barrels. Um, the 4 guards are down here playing cards. Um, as is uh, uh, Esvel Rosenar. Um, she waves at the bat. She waves at Echo. She knocks on a door that's just behind her, a big stone set of double doors that's behind her. Smiles, right? And make me an Arcana check.
All right, I already used up all my luck on Arcana checks. It took all my
Is it
luck.
luck when it's just the law of large numbers? Hey!
There is what appear like in front of her on the floor, right? She's sitting in a chair, leaned up against these 2 big stone double doors, right? and she's sitting sort of on the edge of this thing, but it extends out in front of her and around her and a little bit under the table that the guards are sitting at. What seems to be a teleportation circle.
I will snap Echo back to me.
Okay.
Now to think about how to invade a basement.
While you are thinking about how to invade a basement, let's check in on Nim. Um, you get to the courthouse and are informed that um, Blastwind and Cromley are both gone. There's a lot of activity going on. Um, you hear a clerk just like calling off names and sending pairs of guards out with a name and an address. Um, and among the names that you hear, right, are Asper and Mertz, and they send them off to the home that you know to be next to the Light Singer Theater. And you hear Corsonus's name and shortly thereafter Kaz's name, right? And they actually send two different pairs of people to the haunt, right? It seems pretty clear from this information that they're already sending people out to invited party guests.
Okay. Yeah, I try to wind my way through to meet with Cromley
Mhm.
uh and tell him. All
Well,
right.
you've
Yeah.
been informed they're not here.
Oh, right. Okay. Yes. Okay. Great. I will ask if there is any other like authority figure, maybe more legitimate than them, who is in office.
Uh, Unfortunately, uh, this is it. And the clerk points to the person who's barking out names and sending out people, and says, "Yeah, Cromley and Blastwind gathered up several of the knights, um, went out, said they needed to get both more muscle and more authority before moving on the castle."
Okay. Great. That's good. Could you also tell them that at this address is in fact the uh hidden cache that they've been trying to find now for the better part of a couple of weeks. Um, and there is an obstinate woman who is in ownership of the property who believes that because it was cached in the land that she purchased, that she is entitled to it, even though it is in fact embezzled funds.
Uh, okay.
Here, let me write that down for you, and I do.
Okay. Excellent.
Yeah,
Um,
and I put down the name, her name, Esvele, or
mhm.
yeah, Rosenar. Uh, yes, and the sooner that someone of authority, be it you or actually anyone within the guard, were able to inform her that claim to the property or to this embezzled property is in fact a crime itself, that actually would be very beneficial. Is there anyone who could maybe follow me back there and deliver that message?
uh, yeah, you see, we don't make up the rules. We need to have someone tell us? Like a magistrate or something?
Okay, but a
So
magistrate died because of this very incident. So I'm telling you, with as much authority as I have, as the most knowledgeable person here about the incident, that we need someone's help as quickly as possible.
okay, we'll run it up the chain.
All right, thank you. And then I'll walk back across town again.
Fantastic. Exidia, how is the contemplating the trolley problem working out for you?
If the parental ownership of the children's souls is a result of the civilization and the society and the rules therein, if the kids officially moved into like my tribe, for instance, wherein the rules are different, maybe that would void the ability for the contract to collect. Maybe it's like a a residency or a domicile type exclusion. That's all I got.
All right, fantastic.
I I hope that you are not like stuck on this with the assumption that there's like ownership of souls in debate. Like,
That's fully what it is for me. Yeah.
okay, I mean it's just that like it's not an ownership problem.
It absolutely is.
I mean like it's that they have ownership of their own souls. They just are being consigned like it's not a soul being like taken from them.
Yeah, it is.
It's
That's explicitly what it is.
I mean it's not. I mean it says that they're being conscripted into the army in perpetuity.
The freedom of their soul is being taken from them.
That is not the same as ownership.
Yes, it is.
It is quite not.
I'm not going to keep arguing, but
Well, your contemplation about the fate of these two children uh, is certainly noted, and it is clear that you are trying to find a solution. Whether you can do that on your own, or whether more research or more individuals or both are necessary, is still in question. Um, uh, as that question is occurring to you, we will say that Nim arrives back as Orsonus presumably is um, considering more earthly problems, namely, how does one get into a cellar that uh, is currently being occupied by 5 individuals?
So the good news is that our friends down at the watch are actually working on preventing the Caslanteers from hosting their event as we asked. That's great. And they've been informed about this situation. How is it so far gone?
Ted, if you are speaking, you are muted. But you also may just be away.
I am muted. Okay. I was just thinking, and then you
Okay.
said that, and I was like, I'm not muted. Nope, I certainly was, but I was not actually speaking while I was muted.
Okay. Excellent. Well, I am glad at the very least there it wasn't unmuting with "God damn it!" and okay,
I
so
mean, we have found. She is aware that we have that. I say we that I have scouted with Echo's help. She is aware of where a vault is, so it is quite as simple as going to the vault. If you'd like to negotiate, I will keep my mouth shut this time.
I mean, we can try again, but I do think that that bridge is well and truly burned. We can give it another shot. I'll try the door again.
um it takes a while, right? But um eventually you hear uh footsteps plodding closer to the door. Gonna be civil this time?
I look back at my two friends and wait for their acknowledgement.
I say absolutely nothing.
Zedia just kind of like puts her hands up and like uh scrunches her mouth like yeah, but without saying anything.
Yes. I'll say to the door.
Wonderful. The door opens and he says, Ms. Rosenar says that you now know where it is.
I believe so.
And he
I'll
just,
come inside and
waves you
wave
inside.
everybody in. Yeah. And then wait for Corsonis to point the way, or take the lead, take us there.
I point downstairs.
Okay. Yeah, that's where we go.
You head downstairs and she's sitting with the chair sort of leaned back against these two doors, and she's sort of casually tossing a dagger right into the floor, and seems like it's hitting the same or almost exactly the same spot every time she throws it down, and then leans the chair forward to pick it back up. As y'all come in, she's like, okay, are we ready to be reasonable?
Yes, ma'am.
Excellent. Well, as you can see, I know precisely where the vault is, just don't know how to get in. Given your association with Never Ember, I've got to assume you have some information that I am lacking. I don't doubt, looking at you, Corsonis, I don't doubt that you are either working for or somehow affiliated with the city, but I also think it's fairly reasonable to assume that it's either not high on the city's list of priorities or you're trying to keep it from significant people at the city. If it's just the three of you here to collect 500,000 dragons, you couldn't even carry them. So, here is my proposal. You will open the vault. I will go in there with you. We will ascertain the situation. Whatever we are eventually able to recover, I will receive 10% of it. In exchange for that 10% of it, you will be buying a service. Namely, I will protect this location and protect the money that we find in there, the gold that we find in there, and whatever treasure we find in there, while you do whatever you need to do to ferry said gold and treasure from this location to wherever you're going to take it, which surely will take more than a trip. Now, I think that's fairly reasonable. You are purchasing my rather considerable services for a journey into this vault, and you're purchasing my services to help protect this vault once it has been opened so that the city doesn't lose any additional money from any other people wandering by while you're taking whatever you can cram in your pockets.
I do see your terms as reasonable. However, perhaps there is something that we can do that might be more beneficial to you in exchange for these same services rendered. See, it is mytholized, right? This vast amount of treasure, what is within. It's so old now of a rumor that most people have heard of it, and there have been dozens of incredibly powerful and dangerous creatures, both in Waterdeep and without, that have told us at the threat of our own lives that they will see this treasure themselves and take it, or everything that we have ever cared about will be destroyed. That said, there's not a doubt in my mind that you and your folks may have the ability to protect against more of the more common pilferers of Waterdeep. But I do have my doubts that the Xanathar and his guild, or extra-dimensional beings such as the ones that the Castellanteers have aligned themselves with and have put into Waterdeep at the attempt to kill us, I doubt very much for your own safety and for many of your own soldiers. That all said, I think your 10% does not sound unreasonable. But I also think that provided you are to survive any such ordeal that may occur with terrestrial or extraterrestrial beings that may come upon the opening of this vault, that I doubt very much that you as a noble figure within this city would like to be known as someone who knowingly walked into a vault of embezzled goods and took a part of it. I don't think that would paint you in a very righteous light. And as such, I would like to again figure some way that we can purchase your services, and I think I figured out a very good way how. Uh, my father is the proprietor of the Dinneran estate. He has with him quite a fortune that is frankly centuries old in this from the Zithlian city in the Underdark. Property that he has purchased and invested in this town now for the better part of 20 years. I have, as authority of his son, there's not a doubt in my mind that we can acquire you that 50,000 gold from his properties, which, to be fair, you say you want 10%, there's a very good chance that 50,000 is a greater percentage than just 10 of whatever may be under there, given that we know very little of what may actually be within the vault. What do you think?
Oh, that sounds perfectly reasonable. I agree. And once you bring me the 50,000 gold pieces, I will sell you this property in total, and you can do with it as you wish.
You're not even a little bit curious now that we're all here to see what's inside first?
Well, I think the three of you are making a horrible mistake. If you open this vault, if it is potentially as dangerous as you claim, if you open this vault without my services as opposed to with them, but that is your choice. Uh, I am certainly curious, but more than curious, I want the return on my investment. And as you said, right, we don't know what's in there. Right? I know the best case scenario of what is in there is 500,000 dragons and perhaps some magical items, of which 10% would be the 50,000 gold dragons and presumably some share of the magic items, if that were even possible. But that's an absolute best case scenario. And here you are guaranteeing me that that is what I'll get paid? Happy to sell you the property for 50,000 dragons.
I'd like to return to what you had mentioned before about entering and ascertaining. I would be, again, more than happy to accommodate the numerical value that I have promised. But I do think we would all stand to benefit from at least opening one, seeing what's inside, closing it up afterwards. What do you think?
Well, I think I like either of the two options better. Um, you can either buy the property from me for 50,000 gold dragons, or you can agree to give me 10% of whatever we find in there, and then we'll open it up. Not particularly fond of the third option, which is we open it up and we see what's in there before you decide or pay me my money. Sounds like a raw deal for me.
I do understand your hesitation. It is not the case that I intend to, given all that I've been through in the past few weeks, to fall back on my word. But I understand. If you wouldn't mind, I think me and my
Uh,
companions would like to discuss this opportunity first.
yeah, by
Figure
all
out what might
means.
be the safest path forward.
By all means. And while you're discussing it, you want to make me a deception check?
Yeah. Oh, this is gonna go bad.
Okay.
I think that's the best I'm gonna be able to get out of that. Um, yeah, let's pull everyone aside, and I'll ask Corsonis if there's a way we can talk telepathically so that we don't have to be
I can only
overheard.
join 2 of our minds. I cannot join all of them.
Okay. We could sit here for a while and like bounce between unless there's a limit.
I mean, you needn't include me. I care very little about this. My only concern are the children at this point.
Okay. Uh, while we're in the headspace, then Corsonis, I'll just clarify. Yeah. That was a significant bluff, and I have very little means of ensuring that we'll be able to actually fulfill a payment request.
We are all in the same boat. We are all tied down with the haunt. I'm fully aware that you don't have 50,000 gold pieces to simply plunk down.
Right.
I'm aware.
One thing I was sort of hoping for was that I could just sort of put my name down and she would have to go and speak with the proprietor of the property and he would have to handle it and that would be, maybe in a day or two. Uh, but I guess realistically it would be possible to go and talk with him. Not that I have since I think I was a child. I do think that trying to avoid allowing her to have any of what is inside, given what we know may be inside, is the safer choice.
As far as I'm aware, she cannot open that vault without us. If she could, she would have done so by now.
Hmm.
I think it is unlikely that whatever we will find in there will be useful in saving the two little ones.
I agree.
Therefore, as far as I'm concerned, we have as much time as necessary to give her as little as necessary to get into that vault. Time is really on our side. Time is especially on your side. You can simply outlive her.
He thinks about that and nods. All right. I'll pop my head back into the room and say, Madam Rosner, it's been a pleasure speaking with you just now. We will have to take some more time to consider, see what again may be in the city's best interest. We'll be in touch, and I'll just start walking out.
As you all are walking out, you hear her say, "Oh, and do tell your father I said hello. As I understand it, it'll be the first words you've said to him in decades."
Yeah, I don't acknowledge that. I just leave.
Mhm.
I will pull out my badge as we are walking out.
Mhm.
I will send to Force Gray.
Mhm.
I need all the information you have on a. I wrote her name down.
As
On
Veli Rosner.
Sveli Rosner. And I will need it as quickly as you can, lest I break it. Nope, never mind. I'm out of words.
You pretty quickly get a response that just said, "We'll send it to the haunt."
I do sort of think you have a point. I mean, as long as we're able to protect the children, we can kind of just wait a couple 100 years, I think.
I can't. I will die in that time, but you can, and I will die knowing that we have won.
I know that that's all you need.
All
Let's see,
right.
who among us might survive that? Actually, Corsonis, I think you might be the only one who might not see it.
I would be, yes. Kaz is an elf. You are Drow. Fearbog lifespans are certainly long enough, and Piety is already dead. I'm not sure she can die of old age again.
Oh, I would hate to see that.
I don't understand how she found the tower. I'm hoping something that Force Grey turns up will explain this mystery. I mean, certainly there are numerous groups and individuals with far more reaching power than her, and far more wealth, and far more time, and have been here longer than her to.
My hunch would be just that perhaps Daggold is not the master of. 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . . 。 . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . .
You misunderstand. we have seen the resources available to, let's say, the Xanathar's Guild. You think with all those resources they couldn't have found this location, but she simply did based on the rumors and the timing and no. There must be something we're missing.
I'm
I
just saying,
don't
I think she
believe
may
that.
have slept with him and might have gotten that answer. Everything else, I mean, if it's sealed away and protected right, I mean, most folks aren't going to be prying into just any old place and finding any old hidden vault, you know?
And yet that's what she did. Pried into one place, found the vault, and managed to keep it secret all this time. Have you known a group of guards who are capable of keeping a secret like that? No offense, but with the guards that we have we have dealt with, that doesn't seem to be the case.
Eh,
There's something more afoot. I'm certain of it.
she's probably just paying them a lot of money.
If she had a lot of money to pay them for all these years, then I mean, 50,000 gold is a lot, but how much has she paid them to keep them quiet all this time?
Mm.
I'm going to cast Sending.
Mhm.
I am going to send to what is his first name? Rainier Neverember.
Okay.
Does the name Esveli Rosner mean anything to you? Was she perhaps a paramour of your father's or something?
Well,
Such a nicer way of saying it.
It was all in my brain.
you hear back. Don't know that they had anything special, but um, got to assume their paths crossed. I mean, you are talking about Rosner family, right?
Nim, is this a name that is familiar to you, Rosner?
Give
Rainier
me a
is
history.
speaking as though that should mean something to me, but I'm not from here, so
Give me a history check.
Hey,
Yeah, you don't know why it didn't occur to you earlier. Like this is a major noble family of Waterdeep. There's a lot of them.
okay. I'd assumed that they were nobility, but knowing
Mhm.
that there's a lot of them is different, is
Yeah.
interesting. Prolific, I guess. Probably on a few estates here and there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you know anything about. Well, with a 20, you realize like, oh wait, like she has a reputation of sort of being the wild card of the family. Um, you know, everybody else is sort of prim and proper, and those are not. She does not fit the traditional noble person mold.
Okay. Okay. We could go and meet with Rainier, speak with him again, see if he knows anything more about her. Uh,
sure.
Otherwise, the other plan was just to wait at the haunt until your information came, or until the investigators are done with their whole bust, and then get them to knock that door down for us.
Yes, I'm not entirely sure they'll be doing that, but
Eh, I'm trying to maintain some bit of faith in them. They've tried very hard.
No, I simply mean they're very busy. They have a lot that they are working on at the moment. They have my opinion of them has certainly changed significantly.
Yeah. I've only been to the south side of town. I think 3 times today. Should we make it 4? Go see Rainier.
Sure. Yes.
Yeah, we'll go out that way, but I know we're getting close to session time.
Yeah, I think actually, let's call it there. And let me just make sure. Personas, you're waiting on the Rosnar information for Force Gray.
Yeah.
You all are waiting for some report or some information from Blastwind and Cromley about what they're doing to detain the Castellanteers. Nim, you're waiting to hear from the city about essentially raiding the Rosner place.
Yeah, kind of.
And Cydia, you are still searching for loopholes.
Yeah, basically.
Any other resources you'd like to bring to bear to that, or is the plan just give it some more consideration?
Probably wanting to talk to like Jarl Axel or something.
Okay. Great. Fantastic.